How you doing, everybody? My name is Dr. Sami Baya. Please welcome back to my YouTube channel. Why do narcissists and borderlines fall in love? Why borderlines and narcissists attract each other? That is the title of this video. Personality disorders are types of mental health conditions. When left untreated, they can affect someone for life. And in this video, we're going to talk about narcissistic personality disorder and borderline personality disorder. Why do narcissists and borderlines fall in love? Why do they attract each other? Borderlines often end up in relationships with narcissists. Now, can this relationship work? Relationship between the borderlines and the narcissists can be very difficult. Yet, these relationships can work out with the help of mental health professionals. Borderlines and narcissistic people, their relationship is prevalent and it's typically abusive. In other words, it is a relationship that is worth talking about. Most likely, a borderline and a narcissist are incredibly toxic together. But the big question in this video is, why do narcissists and borderlines fall in love? Narcissists and borderlines are complete opposites of each other in terms of the characteristics and traits. A narcissist is known for being grandiose, arrogant, in need of constant attention, and lacking in empathy. And a borderline is someone who's prone to suffering from poor self-image, fear of abandonment, chronic feelings of emptiness, and mood swings. A borderline has a deep-seated belief that they are not worthy of love. They believe that they are worthless, sometimes may stem from childhood abuse or neglect. Genetics and other factors may also play a role. Borderlines feel worthless, and this drives many of the triggers that they experience. So, when a borderline experiences rejection or criticism, they may react with intense anger or fear. A relationship between borderline and narcissist can help each party fulfill their needs, even if it's in an unhealthy manner. The borderline sufferer, they see everything they can't do in the narcissist. They see a narcissist as someone who appears confident and self-assured. The borderline feels like the perfect counterbalance to their own insecurities is that narcissist. So, when a narcissist meets a borderline, they can tend to use them to fulfill their need for validation, often at the expense of the borderline sufferer's boundaries and feelings. Remember, the narcissist has this big need for attention, praise, validation, admiration. And this, coupled with the heightened emotions of the borderline, it makes it a very dangerous mix. If the narcissist's needs are not met, they can become cold and distant. They can shun the borderline and trigger their fear of abandonment. However, the borderline isn't always the victim. Sometimes the borderline, because of their extreme behavior, they can push the narcissist so far that they decide to move on and get their needs met by someone else. Remember, narcissists get bored easily. If the borderline pursues the narcissist after this, then it can play into the narcissist's desire for attention and control. People choose romantic partners who are their equals in regards to intimacy. Now, the reason the borderline and narcissist relationship is so widespread is because the borderline and narcissists share some of the same intimacy issues. Both tend to lack what we call whole object relations. Whole object relations. This is the capacity to simultaneously see both the good and the bad. Both the narcissist and the borderline, they lack also what we call object constancy. which is a fancy way of saying they don't naturally have the ability to maintain positive feelings over someone while they're feeling hurt or while they're feeling disappointed or angry with them. The borderline and the narcissist also struggle with maintaining emotional connections to someone who is no longer around. So relationships between borderline and narcissists can help those individuals achieve their unmet needs, but it can also be extremely volatile. Now, as I've just said, the narcissist and the borderline, they struggle with object constancy and whole object relations. And we know these skills are integral to stable, intimate relationships. When you talk about whole object relations, that is the ability that allows someone to see good and bad in the same person. It misses in the narcissists and the borderlines. When the whole object relations it allows, or it can accept that both people, it is where someone can accept that both can coincide simultaneously in themselves and others. You see, where someone can see both good and bad, in short. But object constancy is that ability to feel positively towards someone even when you are upset. Object constancy refers to that ability to maintain positive emotions towards someone who moves away. Now, the narcissists and the borderlines, they lack this. They often struggle with that black and white thinking. They don't have the whole object relations, which allows someone to see good and bad in the same person. To them, it's either you are good or you're bad. You are black or white thinking. That's the thinking the narcissist and borderline have. When you hurt them, they see you as all bad. When you do good things to them, they see you as all good. They tend to forget the qualities, the positive qualities and the experiences that they have shared with that person. The narcissists and the borderlines, they deal with viewing people as out of sight, out of mind. They have that out of sight, out of mind, especially during conflicts. They struggle with maintaining an intimate connection when they feel hurt, angry, or disappointed. These narcissistic borderline relationships, they can work during happy times, but they struggle with object constancy and whole object relations. And this can make conflicts between the two extremely volatile. Borderlines are attracted to narcissists because they have similar relationship skills. They both tend to get into relationships quickly. They feel romantic emotions more intensely than others. They also tend to seek relationships that fulfill what they view as the missing piece in their lives. Narcissists, they appear confident and sure of themselves. And borderlines crave that confidence, that show of themselves image, because they see it as what they're missing. So the narcissist craves the attention that borderlines give. The narcissist is happy to stick around the borderline and get that attention. And the borderline is willing to stick to the narcissist to get what is missing in them, that confidence and being sure of themselves. Now, narcissists tend to reject their vulnerability, but the bipolar exact opposite. They showcase intense vulnerability through unstable, intense emotional reactions. So, at the beginning of the relationship, they can attract. That's why they say opposites attract. Because they are at similar levels of intimacy. And that is very important in maintaining a successful relationship. Now, according to the DSM-5, that is the Diagnostic Statistical Manual 5, it says it characterizes narcissists as being self-centered, grandiosity, lack of empathy, need for admiration, and manipulative behavior, tending to exploit others. So, in short, for you to be a narcissist, for you to be diagnosed of narcissistic personality disorder, according to DSM-5, someone must have 5 of these 9 criteria: a grandiose sense of self-importance, an intense preoccupation with fantasies of success, power, intelligence, beauty, or love, a belief that the narcissist is special and should only associate with similarly special people, an intense need for admiration, entitlement, exploitation, lack of empathy, envy of others, or the belief that others envy the narcissist, and arrogance. Now, according to DSM-5, it characterizes bipolar disorder, borderline personality. It characterizes the borderline personality disorder as featuring chronically erratic mood and behavior. And these are the symptoms, according to DSM-5, the symptoms of the borderline personality disorder. That is intense fear of abandonment, a pattern of unstable relationships, an unstable or missing sense of self-identity, intense paranoia when under stress, difficulty regulating anger, persistent sadness or feelings of worthlessness, suicidal behavior, including self-harm or ideation, intense and recurring mood swings, impulsive behaviors. Now, the narcissists and borderlines, they form intense, quick attachments. They both can quickly form intense romantic attachments based on very little information about the other person. Now, the reason why the borderline and the narcissist are attracted to one another is they magnetize. Each one helps the other play out their individual drama by fulfilling their needs. When the borderline first encounters a narcissist, they see everything they are not and cannot do. They are amazed by the narcissist's confidence, and they'll recognize that confidence missing in their own life. The borderline finds that being involved with the narcissist validates their character. It boosts their self-esteem. It provides a sense of completeness that they have never experienced before in the initial stages of the relationship. The narcissist, on the other hand, feels like the perfect match. So they throw themselves to this borderline and they believe they have gotten a good narcissist supply. When a narcissist meets someone who's a borderline, they recognize them because they feel that they can fulfill their needs of giving them constant attention, validation, and admiration. The borderline throws themselves to the narcissist, affirming and reaffirming the idealized sense of self. So it becomes easy for the two to be romantically involved. In short, the two personality disorders act as polar opposites to each other, positive and negative charges that attract one another. Remember, the borderline lives for love. They use connecting to someone as a remedy for feelings of emptiness, restlessness, and loneliness. But the narcissist chooses their lovers based on whether that person enhances their self-esteem. Because the narcissist's need for self-esteem is ongoing. They cannot wait to get to know the person better. What attracts narcissists are not the enduring personal qualities of the other person or even compatibility. To the narcissist, so long as they can get constant supply of attention, then they are good to go. Narcissists can fall in love, yes, but they are likely to expect such very different things out of that relationship. And most likely the relationship is unlikely to be successful for very long, because narcissists want continuous self-esteem enhancement. The borderline wants continuous unconditional love. Narcissists want their mate, that is the borderline, to enhance their sense of self-esteem. The borderline want continual reassurance that they are loved. So both sets of needs may be fulfilled in the early love bombing stage, the early honeymoon stage of the relationship, when the narcissist is love bombing the borderline. But as time goes by, they'll be less satisfied because they'll become more accustomed to being with each other. You know, when people are used to each other, they take each other for granted. Now, I hope you've learned a thing or two in this video. Please don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you're not subscribed to my YouTube channel. Thank you. God bless you. Catch you later in the next video. Please don't forget to subscribe.